Shepherd's pie is such a classic recipe, but today I'm putting a bit of a twist on it by slow cooking some lamb shoulder in the base, and instead of a fluffy mashed potato topping, we're going to do some golden crispy potato gratin. So it's a bit of mashup of all your familiar flavors of a shepherd's pie, but I promise you you're going to love it. So instead of lamb mince, I'm using some lamb shoulder because we're going to be slow cooking this recipe. So we're going to be cooking the lamb shoulder for a few hours in the oven, and we're going to get really succulent pull apart lamb in the base and then our potato topping. So just get that from your butcher, lamb shoulder, big nice chunks, and we're going to brown that off first. I'm going to be doing this all in a casserole pan, but it's quite a shallow one, so I can cook the lamb in there and we can do our topping on the same one. So a bit of oil, heat that up, season the lamb with a bit of salt, and then we can go into the pan. So I'm going to brown that lamb in batches, so do half at a time, and that way we can get really nice caramelized pieces of lamb, which are going to give more flavor. So don't overcrowd the pan, but while that's going, we can just chop up our veg. So I'm going in with some pretty basic onion, leek and carrot, and that's going to form the base of the cottage pie. So this lamb is nice and brown now, so I can get it out the pan and do the second batch. Okay, so I'll take the last of the lamb out, and then we can sweat off the veg slowly in the same pan. Another bit of salt and some pepper. Adding just a splash of oil if you need. And while that's going for about 3 to 4 minutes, we're going to chop up the garlic and the thyme. I don't cook garlic at the same time as onions and leek and that because the garlic will burn really quickly. So the base veg has softened nicely, so we can go in with the garlic and thyme, cook that for about a minute, and then it's putting all the other ingredients in so we can slow cook. Then after about a minute, decent amount of tomato paste. So that's going to add kind of a depth and richness to the sauce. A couple of tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. So I know that's quite a lot, but it adds great sweetness as well. And then 2 tablespoons of Dijon. Return the lamb with any of those resting juices as well. Then some beef stock or lamb stock. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the heat, and now we're going to go into the oven for about 3.5 hours, and I've got it at 140 fan forced or about 160 conventional. So once the lamb is almost done, we can get onto the potato topping. So just going to peel some potatoes, and then we're going to slice them as thinly as possible. I've done a few of these here. You want the potatoes pretty thin, but if you're not game to use a mandolin, just go as thinly as you can with your knife. And we're just going to have to par cook these, so I'm just going to blanch them in some boiling water just for a few minutes. Okay, so at this stage, the lamb will be perfectly tender. So just use your fork to roughly break everything apart a bit. You still want some chunks in there. Mouth's watering already. What I'm going to do, even though that sauce is pretty thick, when it bakes, oh, that's sugar. So a bit of flour in here, just scattered from the top. That'll just help thicken the sauce. Then just stir through some frozen peas, and then we can start layering on that potato gratin. We can go in layers, and I'll lay down some potatoes, a little bit of cream, a little bit of cheese, salt, potatoes, cream, cheese, salt, until it's completely covered. And now back into the oven for a final time. I've cranked it up to 200, and we're gonna let this get really nice and golden, so it's gonna take probably about 20 minutes. That looks pretty incredible. You can smell that beautiful cheese. So nice and golden. I love anything golden and delicious. And you know that as you break through those layers of potato, cheese and cream, you're gonna hit some awesome slow cooked lamb. So if you take a peek in here, you scoop it out, it's a pure pot of gold. I should let it cool down, but that is really, really, really good. Succulent lamb, so tender and sweet because we've slow cooked it. Beautiful golden topping, layers of cheese, potato, cream. You know that's going to be a winner. So that is our slow cooked shepherd's pie with potato gratin topping. So if you like the recipe, and I encourage you, you should, head to delicious.com.au.